Welcome, students, and Law Career Services represented by Lee Ornetta, wonderful public interest pro bono person at Law Career Services, and Sandra Darian, the program assistant for the Externship Clinics. I'm Susan Rutberg, and I've been wearing a lot of different hats here, although I often say none as well as our dean. Sports a hat like no one else can. But I have been teaching here now for about 20 years, and my current assignment is to run the Externship Clinical program. You all know that part of what we do here at the law school is encourage you to enter experiential learning. And in fact, we not only encourage you, we require you now to take at least 3 units of some experiential learning. So what does that mean? What different ways could you satisfy that requirement? Well, one is very simply through taking a clinic. And we have in-house clinics here at the law school. Does anybody know the difference between an in-house clinic and an externship clinic?
Sorry, what was it? Well, the in-house would be the one provided through the school, like the environmental law one is the only one, and the extern is where you go out to other agencies and you help them.
Yes, and there's a lot of confusion about terminology. Are you an in-house clinic? We don't want to call our externship clinics the outhouse clinics. No, no. But the in. So first I'm going to start off by telling you about our in-house clinics and encouraging any of you who are interested to apply. Do I have anybody here who's been through one of the in-house clinics? Okay, good. From work or ELJC?
ELJC.
And what about you?
Oh, no, that wasn't.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I will have you come up then and talk about your experiences too in a minute. But generally, we have 2 law firm clinics, and then we have another sort of a hybrid clinic called the Tax Pro Bono Clinic, which you'll hear about from a student who's experienced it. The Women's Employment Rights Clinic and the Environmental Law and Justice Clinic are both award-winning, extraordinary places for a student who wants to become a lawyer to gain practical experience. They're taught by professors here at the law school. Marcy Seville is the longtime director of the Women's Employment Rights Clinic, and Helen Kong is the director of the Environmental Law and Justice Clinic. And there's another lawyer working in each of those clinics to help supervise the students. So you get an incredible experience of having a ratio of, one student with 2 professors. I mean, there's 8 to 12 students per semester. So it's an amazing experience because you'll meet clients, you'll interview clients, you'll work on ongoing litigation, you'll go to a hearing, you can conduct a hearing, you will be contributing to something that's really important. And you get credit for it. You take a seminar that goes along with the clinic and you work in the clinic. The clinic is located in the Jesse Street building right behind the law school up on the 5th floor near Law Career Services. So that's an option for any 2nd or 3rd year student. And there's an application process, there's information on the website. If you have any questions, you can contact the directors of those clinics directly or a student in one of the programs and find out for yourself. Then we have a clinic that is called the Pro-Bono Tax Clinic that's run by Tim Stanley. Professor Stanley is the director of our tax program here. And that clinic helps poor people get refunds from that they didn't expect. And you'll hear from a student who works in that clinic now. Then we have the externship clinics. Okay, so you can get experiential learning credits through our in-house clinics or through our externship clinics. You can also get experiential learning credit by participating in the litigation skills program and taking, for example, trial advocacy or family law practice. There are a couple of other ways. But I'm here to tell you that there's really no substitute for hands-on legal experience while you're still in law school. I participated in a clinical program that was very unofficial when I was in law school because it was before clinics were invented. They had just invented the wheel and they hadn't yet gotten to clinics. But what I did was volunteer at a small law firm out in the Bayview Hunters Point called the Community Defender. And I spent most of my time there. I shouldn't really say this because this is being recorded, and now it's recorded, but I think the statute of limitations has probably run on me not attending class in favor of real life experience. But now you don't have to do that because you can actually get academic credit for your work experience. And if you're interested in criminal law, we have a wide variety of places that you can work. There's trial levels, there's appellate level, there's adult, there's juvenile, there's state, there's federal, And there's San Francisco County, Alameda, Marin, Contra Costa, Solano, any place you can get to and still get back here for a 4:30 class that meets once a week. So we encourage you to investigate that if you think you have an interest in criminal law. If you have an interest in real estate law, we have a real estate clinic. If you're interested in family law, we have a family law clinic. And you'll hear about that from our wonderful family law professor here, Florence. If you're interested in youth law, we've had a youth law clinic that sometimes we combine with the family law clinic. Then we also have a relatively new consumer rights clinic. What Golden Gate has done is create some partnerships that are neither in-house nor externship. They're kind of called hybrids. And one of those is with the Bar Association of San Francisco, who provides a lot of legal service for people who are unable to afford counsel. And there's a consumer rights clinic that meets a few times a month in the evenings or on Saturdays. So this is particularly aimed at people who have work lives and who are evening part-time students, but any of you can apply. You don't have to be an evening student. And that clinic is taught by Maria Pell, who is a longtime consumer rights advocate, a fierce lawyer, and a really good teacher. And then we also have the Homeless Advocacy Clinic. In that program, you work with Katie Danielson from the Homeless Advocacy Project. That's another partnership with the Bar Association. They have an office on Mission Street that's just dedicated to helping people who are at risk of homelessness stay in their homes, or people who are living in poverty and the other problems that are associated with poverty, public benefits law. And you're supervised all the way by Katie. You'll get to go to court with her, and you can be certified and speak in court under her supervision. So that's a wonderful opportunity too. Real estate, youth, homeless, family law. Oh, we also have an environmental externship that after you've taken the Environmental Law and Justice Clinic, our in-house clinic, if you want a job in the field and you want to earn academic credit for that, we can do that as well. And you'll be supervised here. You'll be taking an environmental law class here, and your teacher will help you find a placement, or you can find your own placements through Law Career Services. So those are that's the array of clinics that we have. And I'd like to ask I'll provide you with some general information, how many units, how many hours do you have to work for units, the class component, things like that, after we've heard from our students. So I'll start by introducing my first up student.
I'm Libby Rodoni, I'm a 3L. I did the Pro-Bono Tax Clinic over 2 semesters, so I think that's why they asked me, because I was in it forever. Just a little something about it. You're basically dealing with California, the Franchise Tax Board, and the Board of Equalization. When stuff gets to the IRS, they kind of go, no, we're not doing that. So you're just dealing with California. But it's kind of tough because California, they're bulldogs because the state is completely broke, so they'll fight over $1, and you're gonna have to fight your hardest to try to get something going. So it's kind of an interesting thing because everybody thinks the IRS are the mean people, but it's really the Franchise Tax Board. Professor Stanley wanted me to say that it is a competitive placement, so you have to apply and say why you want to do it. There aren't any units that are required, and you don't have to take tax courses, although I'd highly recommend it. I was I think I would have been lost had I not taken characterization of income and expenditures, or the equivalent class, which is federal taxation. There are 2 supervising attorneys. Dean Stanley doesn't really participate in this portion. It's Craig Schultes, and he does income taxation and tobacco tax and usage. And then Michael Larkin, who does sales and use tax. So they're 2 little kind of separate clinics within the clinic itself. I did income taxation and 1 tobacco sales and use tax thing because it's a new thing that they're just starting to do. The basic thing that you do is you either receive a file that a student has already worked on, you open a new file for a new client. It's sort of, the first day you get a rundown of exactly what Craig Schultes wants you to do and exactly how the procedure should go. So that's good. But then after that, you're on your own. You're already talking to clients the first day. You're writing your appeals. There might be an appeal due within 2 weeks of when you get the file. So you have to really think on your feet, and it's sort of, you're thrown into the fire. But in reality, that's really awesome because every attorney I've ever talked to who's gone through the Pro Bono Tax Clinic has said this is reality. So it's a good look at reality in a practical placement because you actually learn something.
You help people.
Yeah, of course you help people, of course. Yeah, and there's also some clients though who make, you know, $100,000 a year that we help too. So it's not just for clients, it's people who make more money than, you know, I've ever seen in ever. So, you know, it's kind of interesting. What else? It's basically appeals, so you end up writing a lot, and everything is, you're writing an appeal, the FTB writes an appeal, you reply to that appeal, and then maybe it goes to oral hearing. It also depends on what the client wants. A lot of clients don't want to go up to Sacramento or I think Culver City to be there to participate in a hearing. I managed to do one hearing over the phone that had to do with the tobacco sales and use tax, and that was really awesome because I managed to mitigate a suspension of a license for a small deli in San Mateo, so that was like my victory. And the class is credit, no credit. I think you can get 1, 2, and 3 units, but each unit is like 45 hours, so that's a lot of time and dedication to tax. And believe me, you'll feel it if you take the class for like 3 units. I don't know if I could do it. Craig Schultes wanted me to tell you that he really wants people to come over the summer. So if you want to apply, he always needs people over the summer because everybody goes on vacation or they go, you know, do other classes. So he really needs people. It always meets Wednesday morning at 9 or 9:45. Between then, I can't remember. I don't know why I can't.
To apply, should a student contact Professor Stanley?
Or Natasha Fastaben, and I'll write her email on the board, and I'll write my email on the board if you have any further questions. But the main thing I want to reiterate to you guys is that this is real life, and you get to learn stuff, and it's a practical application. And every job that I've had internship after, including a paid internship right now, is because I did the Pro-Bono Tax Clinic. The attorney that hired me, she looked and saw Pro-Bono Tax Clinic and went, okay, you're good, let's go. Yeah, she really, because she did it herself and she knew what happened and she understands the process of what you go through. I don't want to hijack anything, but if you have any questions about this, the specialization in tax, the LLM in tax, I'm going to go through it, the Very Young Tax Lawyers Association, anything to do with tax or tax dorkiness, you let me know, and I'll write my email on the course. And
She'll also do your taxes.
Yeah.
For a fee.
Yeah.
Full service.
Yeah, for a fee, yeah, no.
You mentioned 45 hours, and I just want to point out that for all the externship clinics, it's the same thing. You sign up for the number of hours that you want to earn. So if you want to earn, it's 45 hours per unit. So if you want to earn 3 units, that's 135 hours over the course of the semester. And we encourage you, if you're doing a clinic for the first time, to do it for at least 3 units. The tax clinic may be a different story, but because we want you to become immersed enough in the work life that you learn the language of the workplace and that you really can follow a case from beginning to end and be of real use to your employer. So try to figure out a semester when you will have at least 3 units of time and spend it on an externship then. Also, over the course of your law school career, you can earn up to 13 units of clinic, and that's all these different kinds of clinics. So one semester you could do the Women's Employment Rights Clinic, one semester you could do an externship, one semester you could do the Pro Bono Tax Clinic. It's okay, as long as you don't don't go above 13. Okay.
And just 2 more things. Craig Schultes has a heart of gold, and he will help you at 9 p.m. at night when you're struggling to find something and your brief is due, you know, at midnight or whatever, you know, it's due that day. And also, when you're doing your mixers and you're trying to get yourself a job, people love talking about this. You love talking about it because it's a safe zone where you can talk about your practical application. And I talk about it all the time to all sorts of people. So
What a great booster you are.
oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Houston, you want to go next since you're sitting up here?
I would.
This is Houston Porter, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm in the litigation department, so we don't sit and speak. You have to stand. I am currently on 2L. I am in the middle of a real estate externship. I have a background in real estate and construction, and I'm also pretty heavily involved in the litigation program here. So the spring real estate externship is a litigation externship. So I decided to do that. As far as hours go, I'm doing 3 units, which is kind of 135 hours, which is kind of the minimum. It averages out to about 10 hours a week, which I'm 4 weeks in and already have done like 70 hours. You will end up wanting to be there all the time because, like Professor Rutberg said, it's real. It's what you really do. And so I can't wait to get back over there every day to work on projects. And it's real estate. My particular externship is a real estate externship, although it's litigation. Real estate cases rarely end up in court, so there is some transactional to it. But done everything from write briefs to respond to complaints, sat in on mediations. Right now I'm helping the senior partner put together a continuing education presentation for the San Francisco Bar on all the new laws that have come out this year that affect San Francisco real estate landlord-tenant specifically, as well as significant cases from last year. So basically, I get to help him and get to go and help present all of the new law for all the real estate attorneys in the city. As far as placement goes, I don't know how other people did, but I just went down the list of firms that are here. Because these firms have worked with the school before, they got back. I think there was only 1 out of 7 that didn't email me back within an hour. So they see GGU, they work with GGU, they know what the externship program is. And if you're still fuzzy, you should look at the externship agreement. I assume that's available for people. It's why you would want to do an externship instead of an internship.
I can explain that, maybe.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say, it keeps you from being pushed in a back room filing papers, because there's actual criteria that the partners agree to show you.
The difference between an internship and an externship, in terms of if you've heard these words bandied about, the school uses the term externship to refer to what you do when you pay us tuition money to sign up for an externship clinic and go out in the field and volunteer your time. So we don't want you to just be in a position where you could be exploited or where you're paying us for no value added. So we insist that your supervising attorneys sign an agreement where they're essentially agreeing to be your mentor. They have to provide you with an orientation, they have to provide you with clear instruction, they have to provide you with feedback on your assignments, they have to spend time with you and let you conduct observations on your work hours, so that you would be doing something like watching a lawyer prepare a witness for a deposition, and that counts as part of your hours. And then the lawyer would sit down with you afterwards and debrief what they did, so that you would be learning all the time. So it's a wonderful way to make sure that you don't just go out in the world and find yourself getting coffee or making copies in the law office. The other thing we provide is a course that goes along with it, a seminar. And right now, Houston, you're in Roger Bernhardt's, Professor Bernhardt's
Yeah, I'm in Professor
seminar.
Bernhardt's seminar, and it's actually once every other week. I don't know if that's different from the real estate one.
They all meet, they have to meet 7 to 10 times over the course of the semester, so it's
So we're every other Monday at 4, and where the tax clinic is impacted, the real estate is not. So the benefit of that is there's only 3 of us students this semester in it. We sit around a table with Professor Bernhard, and he basically teaches us whatever we want to know. We give him redacted work that we've done the week before, and he basically goes through it. We get to teach each other because we're all slightly different type of firms. And he's available via email, by a cell phone. He told us if you have a question and you just feel like it's too dumb to ask one of the partners, you can call and ask him. He'll look over your briefs before you turn them in. So I mean, it's really interactive on both ends. And I think the beauty of the agreement is that these attorneys, they look down at, and basically what it tells them is they can't stick you in a back room. They need to give you interesting things to do. What they remember is every time they're going to do something really interesting, like, I better take my intern with me. So I'm looking at the list, and I'm doing things that aren't listed on the list. I'm doing things that maybe you wouldn't normally get to do, because their first reaction is, if I'm going to court, I need to take him. If I'm going into mediation, I need to take him. Even if it's all day. If we're going out to lunch with clients, I need to take him. So I've already been out.
You can't get paid, but you can get taken to lunch.
And I've already been taken out to lunch once a week for the last 3 weeks. So yeah, it's just really great contact.
Thank you so much, Houston.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask our professor, Florence Phillips, to come forward and tell us about the family law and youth law clinics, if you don't mind.
Use my notes on my desk.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think I was going to speak. But hi, everyone. I'm Professor Phillips, and I've been teaching the family law clinic. It's an externship for the last 3 years. I see Liz is in the audience. And the reason family law has been so important to me in my 38-year career is because it gets at the crux of human issues. You deal with domestic violence, of course, is one of the issues you deal with. Custody of children. Are you going to get support? Are you going to lose your house? I mean, those kinds of issues matter. Why? Because they hit everybody, whether you're the CEO of Facebook, who's worth $56 billion, or whether you're a mother on welfare. So you want to, or I want to be able to serve these people at whatever level and be of help, especially to those that are denied representation. You'd be surprised to hear that in family court in the Bay Area, up to 70% of the litigants are self-represented. That's why you have things like the Self-Help Center to help people at least navigate through the forms that you need to fill out to get to court in family court. I started out as a public defender, as did Professor Rutberg, in Los Angeles, and I was also in the Civil Rights and Litigation section of the Department of Housing and Urban Development when they first instituted a novel idea called fair housing. You can't deny someone to rent your apartment because of their color. That was a novel thing in the early 1970s. So we, as an agency, we enforced that throughout the United States. So I guess my whole life I've been concerned with really human issues, people who are accused of crimes, people involved in family law, people involved in civil rights, fair housing, equal employment, and those types of issues. In the family law externship, we place students with a variety of agencies, such as legal aid, domestic violence agencies that help battered spouses, whether you're male or female, deal with the system to get restraining orders. We place students also with administrative agencies like the AOC, which is Administrative Office of the Courts, that has an agency for children and families that promulgate legislation in the area of family law. And also with private law firms. There are a large number of my colleagues have taken in externs to work with them side by side in their daily work, which is very interesting because family law is one of the fastest moving areas of law. It's heavily litigated. You go to a hearing within weeks of filing. You will have multiple hearings. You will have trials within 6 months. You have the full scale of discovery, just like in civil cases, depositions, interrogatories, hiring of experts. It gets to be very fancy litigation. So if you do choose to do family law, you will be exposed to the vast spectrum of civil litigation, as well as litigation that's peculiar to family law issues, and you will get to court immediately, I promise you. And so the private law offices that host externs make it a point of taking externs to court as soon as possible. One of my externs was sat in on a 2-week trial where she got to present witnesses and cross-examine and argue and do all of that wonderful stuff. The other thing with family law is, given the not great economic climate, there is really a great need for family law attorneys. It is a retail field where if you hang up your shingle or go with a small firm, that will be a hotly demanded area because everybody goes through it. You can be Zuckerberg or you can be, a welfare mother. You're going to need help. And it is, by and large, solo and small firm practice, which you'll get, street smarts immediately, I guarantee you, and be able to file the correct forms, to go to court, to argue, advocate on behalf of your clients. So I think the family law externship is a very valuable tool for you, not only in your career development, but just in everything that you do in your life as an young attorney in the future.
I just want to add in that we have certification specializations here at the law school. Are you all familiar with this? And if you're interested in family law, there is a certificate of specialization in this field that's a very valuable resume builder. And the clinic is part of it. We require students to have experiential learning in that field in order to get a specialization certificate. And there's a family law practice course you can take, which will also be very helpful. And I encourage any of you who are interested, who already know what niche it is in the law that you want to find yourself practicing, to consult with one of us or with somebody at Law Career Services or Law Student Services about the appropriate certificate of specialization, and then you'll meet up with an advisor and have someone help you plan your curriculum to make sure that you end up graduating with enough units to win that certificate. And the family law one is a very important one. Many of our students, as Florence points out, do go out into small firm practice or solo practice as family lawyers, and that certificate comes in handy. Now, are there other students here who want to speak? Yes, I'm sorry, Chris, come on up. Thank you, Florence.
I'll just talk from here, but I'm actually here to talk to the people who don't know what they want to do or don't see one of the externships that they feel like they fit in, or they don't know yet what they want to do. So the area of law I'm interested in is healthcare law, which is something that's kind of different and is a niche at the current moment. So I had to go out there and find my own internships, and then eventually you can, so there's a civil externship which allows you to go out there, find your own kind of like internship and then convert it into units. So I've done that one, and now I'm in the advanced legal clinic. So I've done 2 externships. So my first one, okay, all right. I was trying to avoid the camera, but so the first one I did, I found on my own, was with a small plaintiff's law firm that does insurance and ERISA litigation. So we represented people who were denied like disability benefits or were denied healthcare procedures. And I cannot emphasize how amazing that experience was, because I really learned what it meant to work in a law firm. I mean, I filed my first complaint, I went to a bunch of motions, I did client intake interviews, I went to depositions. I also got to see the difference between state law and federal law, because there's state suits under like California insurance laws, and then ERISA falls under federal. And I was fortunate enough, after the summer externship, I actually got hired on by the firm, and I worked with them throughout the semester, and then decided to leave there, and now I'm at the Department of Labor in their ERISA department, and I'm doing the advanced legal civil externship. So my experience is a little different because you know, the ones that they mentioned, I really wasn't sure if that's what I want to do. I didn't really fit into the ones that are already set out, and I kind of had to go out and find my own thing. But I do not be discouraged, because you will get a lot of no's. But there's the right price is free. I can tell you that much. That all those law firms like that price. So, and then don't be discouraged by the fact that you're paying for these units, because I can tell you, that was mentioned earlier, that you kind of have to pay to be in these clinics, but that money's going to come back tenfold, because once you stack up your resume with experiences, I mean, it can't get any better than that. I mean, I was just showing an article, like, yeah, you can graduate with like really high grades and no experience, but law firms are now looking for that experience, because they don't have the money to train anymore. So if you come in and you tell them, look, I've already been to depots, done depots, I've been to motions, I filed complaints, I mean, you're gonna go to the top of the stack. And I actually have internships lined up until the end of this summer. So I can tell you, once you get that first experience, then it just kind of rolls from there. But the first experience is the toughest one. And I know it sounds cliche and everyone repeats it, but you know, going out to mixers, meeting people, that is the best way to land an internship. And always check out the Law Career Services website. they post things on there that you can apply for. Look up GGU alums. It just so happened the person I interned for was actually a USF alum, but the way I got that internship was I applied for another one, and the lady liked me, but I didn't have enough experience for her. So she said, I have a friend and I'll refer you to him, and that's how I got that one. So for all of you that don't know what you want to do, or something, you know, the area of law that you want to do wasn't mentioned, then please feel free to come talk to me. I'll put up my email later, but yeah.
It may seem daunting that you have to find yourself a job while you're studying. You have a few other things to do now during the week, right? Because you're in law school. But don't worry, don't view that as a hurdle that prevents you from making the effort. All you need to do really is make an appointment at Law Career Services and follow the clear instructions on this pink sheet about how to access their database. And we've had hundreds and hundreds of law students who've had externships whose evaluations of their placements are accessible to you, and the contact people who are the liaison people who help students integrate into the work of a law office are there with their email addresses. Everything is there for you, but you do have to make that initial walk across the street to Jessie Street, or pick up the phone or email to create an appointment for yourself. And also on the criminal law side, come see me, because I've been working in this field for more than 30 years, and I know everyone in the Bay Area who does criminal law, prosecution, defense, federal, state, various counties, and I can help you find a placement. And if you're not sure, if you think you want to do criminal law, but you're really not sure, do I want to be a prosecutor, do I want to be a defender, I can give you the names and contact info for alums who work on both sides of the street, and will be happy to have you spend a spring break morning shadowing them in their court work, so that you can get a sense of, is this really how I want to spend a semester or the rest of my life, before you make that commitment. I think we have one more student before I'll open it up to questions. Liz, Liz is the student who is the representative on the Experiential Learning Committee here at Golden Gate. So if you have any issues or questions, she could be one of your go-to people. You can write your email on the board after.
Yeah, absolutely. So like she said, my name is Liz Combs. So I came to Golden Gate because I'm interested in doing public interest work, and I think getting into some of the externships can be easier when you're interested in the public interest work, because getting that credit doing that kind of work is really interesting, like Chris talked about already. And a couple of things I just wanted to touch on was networking is really important too, and being able to make those connections, but also getting out and just thinking about what you really want to do, getting out there and talking to the attorneys, like doing an informational interview if you want. People, especially Golden Gate alums, people are really interested in talking about what they do, and I'm also interested in helping out students, especially at Golden Gate. And another thing was the practical versus the traditional education, just putting the practical aspect to work. I guess, I don't remember her name, but she mentioned it too, just putting it, what you're learning now, kind of putting it to practice, but it's different than what we're learning in school every day. It's very different. So I think kind of separating away from the traditional education and getting like bogged down by how hard it is, how much stuff you have to read, and kind of focusing on why you were here in law school, and actually do something for other people maybe, or for yourself, whatever it is. So I was in the family law clinic. I worked for the AIDS legal referral panel, but I learned a lot in the family law clinic. Professor Phillips is amazing and has, decades of experience. If you're interested in family law, either speak with her, email her, or definitely take that clinic.
Thank you so much. I'm remembering that when I was in law school here so many years ago, I've already told you I played hooky a lot, but I also really hated reading those books filled with cases. They were so archaic, even in 1972, right? And what did it have to do with real life? And then I represented my first client out at Bayview Community Defender, and he was a musician, and he was stopped by the police because they didn't like his looks, and he was treated very roughly. They thought that he had swallowed something, and so they took a nightstick and hit him in the Adam's apple until he regurgitated a small balloon of heroin. suddenly remembered that there had been this case I read in criminal procedure. I can still remember it to this day, Schneckloth versus Bustamante. Are you still reading that case in criminal?
Oh, yeah.
And it says that, you know, the police can do this, they can do that, but if something they do shocks the conscience of the court, then it's a no-no, right? And I thought, yes, I've found it. And I went back and I stayed up all night reading my Crim Pro book and shepherdizing the cases, and I wrote a great motion to suppress, and I got to win my first motion to suppress because I suddenly became motivated to learn the law. And that's the effect that real people can have on a law student who's, okay, well, here I am in law school, but I'd rather be going to the movies. It changed my attitude toward law school, made me a better student, and helped me pass the bar, I'm convinced. We do have some statistics that show that those students who gain practical experience while they're in law school pass the bar at a higher rate than other students. Why do you think that is? I think it's what Liz was just referring to, and that you are forced to learn how to synthesize the law. When you're in class, you're trying to memorize those black letter rules and figure out how to IRAC. But when you have a real person whose problem you're trying to solve by using the law, you're forced to take those concepts and synthesize them in your mind, you know, some concepts from con law, some concepts from crim law, and put them together to come up with something that will help a real person. So for all those reasons, I encourage any of you who are still doubtful to go ahead and find a way to get yourself some practical experience. We also have some representatives from financial aid in the room. Did you just come for the pizza, or would you like to talk to the students about how to support themselves in the summer if they're doing an externship?
I don't have much to say regarding financial aid because it is an externship, so you are receiving credit for the class. Therefore, you're eligible to receive financial aid. If you're getting credit for something, going towards your degree, you can get financial aid. If you're doing it this summer, you need to take you need to take at least 3 units to receive aid.
This is Gabby De La Vega, the director of our financial aid here at Golden.
Okay. So if you're doing it this summer, you need to take at least 3 units to receive aid. It's between you, your professor, your supervising attorney, how many hours you're going to be doing. But Professor Rutberg said earlier the minimums per unit. To receive aid, you need 3. You need to do your FAFSA, which all of you are in the process of doing right now before March 1st. On February 21st, we will have our summer forms available to you guys. We'll email them out. If you're doing something, an externship or anything else during the summer, you would fill it out and give it to us then, and then we'll package you accordingly. If you're doing an externship during the fall or the spring, you're going to register for the class as you would any other class, so just sign up for the appropriate units, and that's it. So not much from me. If you guys have questions, though, you can ask me now, or I'll be here till we're done.
Thank you. Questions? Just stunned by all the information you heard, and that's it? Okay. Well, how many of you are 1Ls? And how many of you are thinking about doing an externship this summer? Well, if you, it's not too soon to start applying for placements, and I would urge you to start thinking about where you want to work and narrowing down the field and sending out more than one so you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And do come see me. My office is downstairs on the 2nd floor, and on the door I have time slots posted for my office hours. So just come by my office and sign up rather than send me several emails back and forth about which times would work for the 2 of us. I look forward to talking to all of you, and I'd like to thank you all for coming, and please eat more pizza. Thanks.